kind of cute.
Don't be crazy.
Don't worry.
On the next Dangerous Women, Desperation.
I would like to become a corrections officer.
For Pete's sake, Maria. It's hard enough getting you out of that place.
They're not even sure it was an accident.
Temptation.
There must be millions here. I don't know what you're so afraid of.
I am not afraid.
Revenge.
Mrs. Meadows? I'm Ben Cronin.
Dangerous Women.
Tuesday night at 7 on Receptive Channel 9. Thank you for watching tonight's movie presentation, The Big Chill. Stay tuned for some of the biggest and brightest stars of stage, screen, and TV. Coming up on the Arsenio Hall Show, tonight at 10:35, here on Receptive Channel 9.
Tonight's primetime movie has been brought to you by Best Buy.
Good evening, I'm Heather Harden.
And I'm Rod Grams. Coming up next on Primetime News, this woman's accusations against Supreme Court Justice nominee Clarence Thomas may have the Senate thinking twice about his confirmation.
Despite being one justice short, the highest court in the land begins a new session.
I'm Maureen Reeder. There's a big party going on tonight on the eve of the American League Championship Series. I'll have the story.
Plus Joe's weather and Perry's sports.
Primetime News is next.
Who feeds a family of 4 for under 10 bucks? Dairy Queen. Juiciful hamburger and hot crisp fries with a glacier cold soft drink. And a deliciously fresh I love this taste sundae. It's the Dairy Queen full meal deal. Grab it now because it's priced so good. You can feed a family of 4 for under 10 bucks. We treat you right. Dairy Queen.
Now there's another reason for being a member of Northwest Health Club. It's Diet Plus Exercise, the members-only program that combines diet and exercise. Diet alone is not enough. It takes Diet Plus Exercise to take off weight and keep it off. Remember, when you join one Northwest Club, you belong to all clubs. There's no initiation fee and 3 months free membership when you join. Northwest Racket Swim and Health Clubs, the ultimate in sports facilities. Call now.
When what you eat and drink upsets your stomach, you want a medicine that works directly on your stomach itself. Pepto Bismol. As it coats, Pepto delivers powerful medicine directly to your stomach, right where you hurt. It's powerful relief. Pepto Bismol. It's real medicine for your stomach.
Receptive Channel 9.
Tonight on Primetime News, will the accusations of sexual harassment by this woman against Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas have any bearing in the Senate? This is our top story for Monday, October 7th.
From KMSP Television, America's #1 independent station, this is Primetime News.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. Senate leaders in Washington are planning tonight to go ahead with confirmation hearings scheduled tomorrow for Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas.
This despite sexual harassment allegations against Thomas by University of Oklahoma law professor Anita Hill. The White House is calling the charges a politically motivated smear. Hill claims, however, she is not trying to undermine the nominee. Candy Crowley reports on the shockwave reeling through Capitol Hill.
She told the FBI and now the world that Clarence Thomas sexually harassed her when they worked together in the early 80s.
It is an unpleasant issue. It's an ugly issue. And people don't want to deal with it generally, and in particular in this case.
He told his friends and the FBI that it never happened.
I don't know anything about these charges, except that Clarence Thomas is my friend, and I've asked him about them, and he says they're not true.
The Senate, scheduled to vote Tuesday evening on whether to put Thomas on the Supreme Court, may never know much more than that.
It is apparently one person's word against another.
The Senate Judiciary Committee knew of the charge and the FBI investigation before the panel voted 7-7 on the Thomas nomination. The Senate leadership was also informed prior to scheduling Tuesday evening's vote. But it is a volatile charge at a critical time, and so much is at stake that some want to slow things down.
We ought to take another day or two to look at this thing and make sure we're doing the right thing. In view of the immensity of the cause, it hardly is asking too much that we delay a brief time to more thoroughly investigate this.
But Thomas supporters say the whole thing stinks of politics.
And to have a 10-year-old allegation come in here now and try to blow him out of the water on the weekend before the final vote, in an October last-ditch, last-second political surprise, I think is reprehensible.
He should be confined. And he should be confined tomorrow afternoon and not put off. Why put off? He's been investigated over and over again. I say let's vote tomorrow, and let's vote to confinement.
Since every member of the Senate must agree to a delay, it seems fairly clear the vote will go on as scheduled. And at this point, there is no sign among his supporters that the ground is shifting beneath Clarence Thomas.
The question then is, do I know enough now to alter that position? The immediate answer is no. And I guess what I'd say is, if I can consider myself for a moment as a judge, considering evidence put before the judge, this is a last-minute piece of evidence that has appeared. I now want to investigate it, and then I've got to reach a conclusion as to what weight I want to give it.
It's a matter of judgment, of who are you going to give the credibility here to. And in my opinion, based on the information, talking to the investigator, the Judiciary Committee, seeing the report, I concluded that it would not change my vote.
Thomas supporters believe, and a private poll confirms, that the judge still has more than enough votes for confirmation. Candy Crowley, CNN, Capitol Hill.
Despite the allegations against nominee Clarence Thomas, 8 Supreme Court justices opened the fall term in Washington today. As Anthony Cookings reports, the first case heard, that is, involved a dispute concerning school desegregation.
The new term began with demonstrators for and against abortion rights.
Let's just say no to abortion and stop it.
Inside, only 8 justices were on hand now that Thurgood Marshall has resigned. An empty space is reserved for his replacement. Ironically, one of the first cases the court heard involved something nominee Clarence Thomas knows about firsthand: segregation. In the Atlanta suburb of DeKalb County, schools have never been fully integrated despite court orders. The Supreme Court is trying to decide how much racial integration is enough. It heard conflicting arguments as to whose fault it is that most schools are still largely black or white. A student says she has to ride a bus for an hour to a better school in the largely white northern part of the county.
All the good teachers are going to the north. All the professors, all the scientists, everyone's going up to the north, and then we're just getting all the poor, pitiful teachers that don't care.
Some blame the school board.
Those schools have fewer resources assigned to them by the school district than another set of schools that are white by student assignment.
Others blamed an exodus of white families out of the county.
The racial imbalance was not caused by anything the school board did, that it related exclusively to population shifts.
The court's ruling, expected by next July, could affect hundreds of other school districts still under desegregation orders. In other actions, the High Court let stand an Atlanta court's curb on anti-abortion demonstrations by Operation Rescue. That ruling ordered demonstrators to stay 50 feet away from an abortion clinic and banned harassment of clients or staff. Operation Rescue had claimed this violated its free speech rights.
At the start of their new term, the justices sent a Dear Thurgood letter telling Marshall they'll miss him. And now, like everyone else, they're waiting to see whether Clarence Thomas will join them as their newest member. Anthony Collings, CNN at the Supreme Court.
Also on Capitol Hill, former State Department official Elliott Abrams has pleaded guilty to his involvement in the Iran-Contra scandal. As part of a plea agreement, Abrams admitted to withholding information from Congress. Prosecutors say he failed to tell the Senate Foreign Relations Committee what he knew about Oliver North's secret Contra supply network. Abrams was also accused of covering up his own effort to solicit $10 million in Contra aid from a third world country.
A preview of the University of Minnesota's 1992 budget plan spells out some tough times for staff and students. In hopes of preventing wage freezes again next year, the administration proposes salary increases of 5% for faculty and staff. However, in order to produce an extra $47 million needed to run the university next year, 700 jobs will be cut, and students face a tuition increase of 9% or an extra $250. University President Nils Hasselmo says the cuts are an agonizing decision, but without money from the legislature, there was no other choice.
It's an agonizing process to go through and make these trade-offs. It is my responsibility and the responsibility of my vice presidents here to provide a balanced budget.
So far, 200 employees have been given pink slips. Additional cuts will be determined by the Board of Regents on Thursday.
And when we return, the countdown to the playoffs has begun.
And coming up next, we'll have a complete report from merchandise fraud to the Twins' road to victory. Stay with us.
The best mystery movie of the year.
Am I going crazy here?
I tried to kill you once. Why not try it again?
No! That wasn't me. That was somebody else.
Your wife's been covering up for you all along. Heart-pounding, pulsating, suspense. Shattered. Rated R.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Circus time. It's Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus time, October 16th through 20th at Target Center. Circus time. Get your hands on the original cool Circus Sport Watch. It gives you the time, the date, and a safe place for your change. And it's free to kids under 12, courtesy of KMSP Channel 9 and Cub Foods. Sport Watch Night is Friday, October 18th at Target Center. Tickets are on sale at the box office and all Ticketmaster outlets for the greatest show on earth.
The window on the right is a vinyl window system. It's a lot easier to clean than other windows because it tilts in. No more ladders.
No more ladders. No more ladders.
Say goodbye to those other windows and hello to a vinyl window system from Twin City Storm Sash. Buy 5 today and you'll get 1 free. What are you waiting for?
Vinyl window systems.
Call Twin City Storm Sash 546-8160.
On the next MASH.
We got promised eggs, we're gonna get them. Yeah.
When a grateful Korean farmer provides fresh eggs for the unit, a lot of feathers get ruffled.
Don't go anywhere. Just sit on those eggs for a while. What am I, a chicken?
And Father Mulcahy tries to unscramble the life of an AWOL soldier.
I'm warning you, Father, I'm going. Give me the gun. No.
On MASH.
Monday night at 10 on Receptive Channel 9.
And now, Channel 9 presents 7-Minute Stretch, a break from the news to show you what's happening around town as the Twins and Blue Jays square off for the American League Championship. Here's Perry Williams.
Good evening, everybody. I am Perry Williams with 7-Minute Stretch, and each night we will bring you very special reports, comprehensive and complete, on the Twins as the team tries to win another American League pennant and a trip to the World Series. And as you know, the regular season is over, and here is a look at the final standings showing the Twins with their best record since 1970. 95 wins, 67 losses, 8 games in front of the Chicago White Sox in the AL West. Over in the East, Toronto finishing 7 up on the Boston Red Sox, the overall record of 91 and 71. And tonight, everybody is itching for the championship series to get underway. In fact, that's the talk of the big party going on right now in Bloomington, courtesy of the American League. Our Maureen Reeder has just crashed that gig over there as she is a party goer herself and joins us to report on all the merrymaking. Maureen?
Well, Perry, you should be down here. I hope you plan to come down here later. It's a good time. This sort of party is a traditional kickoff to the American League Series. As you can see, there's lots of people here, lots of food, lots of entertainment. A lot of these people are dignitaries with the American League. Some of them are dignitaries from in town. Of course, there's lots and lots of press people here. Everyone locally is trying to make a good impression on the press, hoping the national press will treat us fairly in their coverage. Some 650 media credentials have been issued for this championship series to people who are coming from around the world.
We're from England. We have people here from the Latin American countries, from Spain, from France. We have you know, a larger Canadian contingent, obviously, because it's the Blue Jays than we normally would, and all our regular, you know, favorites that keep coming back every year.
They're here. The hard-living national press is in town to taste the Twin Cities and occasionally spit out some bitter reviews. And the Dome is always something to chew on.
It kind of reminds me of the world's biggest circus tent.
The newspaper man from St. Louis is interested in a couple of players, but he's also interested in how the noisy Dome might help out the home team. Folks from St. Louis think it did a lot of damage in 1987.
I think the stadiums play a big part in it. You know, Toronto Stadium is also very noisy, and it helps them out quite a bit. So I give the Twins a little bit of an advantage in that if it goes 7 games, they'll come back here and they'll have that going for them.
The home team also has experience going for it. This same kind of setup took place in 1987. The Twins front office knows what the press needs and is getting top marks in anticipating problems and conflicts, like the inevitable feeling from the local press that they no longer matter.
Sure, there's always the little comments from the local media about, you know, Mr. Network now, he's in talking with all the big shooters and stuff, but we keep the local media in mind because they're the people who really make and break us, because if we don't get coverage during the season, you know, we're in trouble.
Well, in addition to this big party to keep the press happy and some other folks, the press is getting free lunches through the series and free bus rides down to the Dome and a lot of other perks, all in the hope that we get some good reviews on the national scene. Back to you, Perry.
Thanks, Maureen. Well, you got to keep the press happy, and right. I'm not quite sure how to act at the party, but I think it'll go down later tonight. The nation's press corps is not the only group keeping an eye on the action in the Twin Cities. Major League Baseball also here to do some shopping. They're looking for souvenirs, but they don't want them as gifts. They want to get them off the market, as Steve Goodspeed explains.
That's the tag. That's the official license tag.
Chris Avini's merchandise is official, carrying the trademark of Major League Baseball. So what you say, big deal? Well, it is a big deal to Major League Baseball, which says it will have people out making the rounds, looking for unauthorized print jobs and putting those folks out of business. In their official press release, Major League Baseball says one reason they're keeping an eye open for unauthorized merchandise is a concern that the fan not get ripped off with inferior quality. But they admit there is one other factor: millions of dollars in profits.
Why don't I get one of those in an extra large?
You name it, Major League Baseball markets it, from sweats to coffee cups. The teams get a share of the profits when official merchandise is sold, and running off unofficial products is an effort to protect their market. Ray Crump sells approved merchandise across from the Dome, but he's not worried about unofficial competition.
A lot of times they'll shrink, the lettering will come off and all. And I think people today are now know that, and they bought shirts in '87 like that. So now they felt that was a mistake in '87, and they're not going to make that mistake in '91.
Baseball officials say in 1987 the big merchandise boom took place during the World Series, when about 20 busts here netted tens of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. But so far, there have been no busts in the Twin Cities. Veteran souvenir seller Bill Wertheimer says business has been slow.
They're waiting for, I think, for pennant, American League pennant or World Championship. They're not rushing to buy as they did in '87.
You think they're a little spoiled?
Hey, well, if you want to put it that way, yes.
Bill's stuff is official, but he says the quality of some of the bootleg merchandise is just as good, only cheaper. But today he was not worried about the competition, but he was worried about how long the fans would keep waiting. With photographer Rod Wormager, Steve Goodspeed, Primetime News, the Twin Cities.
Well, there's nothing phony about two of the Twins' key players this year, Chili Davis and Dan Gladden. Together, these two hard-nosed hitters driving in 145 runs, knocking out 35 homers, 20 stolen bases, batting a combined .263. Those numbers compare favorably, in some cases better, than the numbers in the '84 season where both players were teammates on the San Francisco Giants. Obviously, Chili and Dan the Man, not the only cogs that kept this Twins machine running smoothly to the West Division title this year. Our Jim Gilliland tells us about the rest of the supporting cast that became the first group of players to go from last to first. Here's that amazing story.
Spring is always a time for optimism. The Twins had reason to be excited about their new Fort Myers facility, if nothing else. But from the moment Dan Gladden smacked this home run in the first spring training game, the Twins looked better than 1990. but that wouldn't have taken much. Last season, the Twins finished in last place in the West with just 74 wins, the third worst record in all of baseball. But armed with some new talent from the free agent pool, the team thought they held promise for better fortune in '91. Jack Morris, the longtime strong man of the Detroit rotation, was here to lead the young pitching staff. Chili Davis, a veteran line drive hitter, was cast off by the Angels and sought to revive his career in the DH role. And Mike Pagliarulo came over from San Diego when the new management there wanted a new direction at third base. Then there was rookie Chuck Knobloch. Not originally on the 40-man Major League roster, he made such an impression on Tom Kelly in spring training that he was given the starting job at second base. Still, a 2-9 start out of the regular season gate had some thinking the team needed a new manager or front office help. Then the fun began.
Oh, that's a line drive to left. This has a chance, and gone! Home run, Chili Davis.
Chili Davis hit 18 home runs before the All-Star break to lead the Twins offense. Sharing the heart of the order with Puckett and Herbeck, he gave the Twins a tough threesome for opposing pitchers to deal with. And while Morris did provide a steady hand on the mound, it was 23-year-old Scott Erickson who was blowing the hitters away.
They're going to be there at the end. Strike three on a breaking ball. Erickson with another good strikeout to end an inning.
In the first part of June, the Twins took off on a 15-game winning streak, and notice was served. The Twins were in the race to stay. Still, all these good memories do not include much success against the Toronto Blue Jays, the opponents in the championship series. Minnesota won just 8 of the 12 games played, a statistic manager Tom Kelly plays down. When the subject of the winning Twins comes up, it is frequently mentioned that the excitement level doesn't seem to quite match what we had in 1987. But if you'll recall, most of the excitement in '87 came when the Twins won the American League pennant and then the World Series. And that's a challenge this '91 club has yet to live up to. With photographer Peter Brown, Jim Gilliland, Primetime Sports in Minneapolis.
So there you have it. The Twins going from worst to first. Manager Tom Kelly likes to say from last to first, but it does set up a return to the American League Championship Series. Starting tomorrow night, first pitch 7:39 at the Dome. Jack Morris on the mound for the Twins. He'll be opposed by the Blue Jays, Tom Candiotti. And we'll hear from both of those starting pitchers and a lot more coming up in sports. Rod and Heather.
Okay, Perry. Thanks very much. Well, coming up next, the first look at our weather forecast.
So stay with us.
I couldn't tell anybody my problem. I couldn't tell my boss I don't feel like coming to work because I'm constipated. Some excuse. What's he gonna say? Hey, take a laxative. Sure. Then get on the bus and hope that it doesn't kick in?
Then I discovered Metamucil fiber therapy. It has the extra fiber I need to help me stay regular without harsh chemicals.
Works with your body, safely, naturally. So, with Metamucil every day, I got regular and stayed regular.
Metamucil, it can make a daily difference in how you feel.
Arnold Palmer at home in America.
1929, that was the year I was born. The tractor, well, that came along a little later. And Pennzoil, well, that goes back to my dad. That was his motor oil. I'll tell you, you couldn't be around him long without learning the value of keeping the equipment running. And you know, everything around here is still working.
Pennzoil, ever since America learned to drive.
A furnace? Not a day of trouble, ever.
Must be a good one.
Must be a Lennox.
It must be.
Now get cash back or 0% financing.
That's right. Must be a Lennox. The best quality at the best price with increased energy savings. Call Cleve Heating and Air Conditioning.
For the best in quality installation and service, be sure and call the Snelling Company, St. Paul's largest Lennox dealer.
Attaboy, Dave.
Saturday, October 12th, come on down to Met Center and cheer on the Minnesota North Stars for a brand new season of NHL action. It's kids' opening night with the North Stars, sponsored by KMSP's Club FTV. The Stars take on the Detroit Red Wings, and you can get $2.50 off of regular price tickets if you have a registered Club FTV card. If you don't have a card, write your name and address on a stamped, legal-size envelope and mail it to KMSP TV. Club FTV cards may be presented for discounts only at the Met Center box office in advance and on game day.
If it's laughter you're after, don't be late. Make a date with the biggest and brightest stars in Hollywood. The Arsenio Hall Show. Weeknights at 10:35 only on Receptive Channel 9.
Well, here we've got a look at the rainfall over the past week across Minnesota. In the eastern part of the state, that's where we saw most of the rain. In the lighter green, 1/10 to 1/2 of an inch, and then you get up into the Arrowhead, they saw a little bit more, 1/2 to an inch. Same thing down into the extreme southeastern part of the state, and then you go up to the west, pretty dry, generally less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. Let's take a look at our high temperature for the day. Not too bad, 60 degrees, coming in a little bit below where we should be. 64 is the average for this day of the year. Low this morning, a chilly 27, 2 degrees off the record of 25, set back in 1976. Much warmer for tonight. Let's take a look at high temperatures across the state for the day today. 60 up International Falls. Duluth came in at 55 degrees. 60s as you go off to the north and west of the city too. 60 in Alexandria and across Wisconsin, looking at generally 50s, except you get down toward the south, they came in at 60 into La Crosse. Now, these are other current temperatures. Green Bay, a chilly 44 right now. La Crosse has 51. A little bit closer to home, 47 into St. Cloud, and 52 up into Alexandria. A little chilly up into Duluth, too. They're coming in at 46. We're at 50 here in the city. Take a look now at our forecast for tonight. Just a few clouds out there, not quite as cold as last night, thankfully. 40 to 45 will be our low temperature. Southerly winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour. For tomorrow, we're looking for, no, not the final. Tomorrow, we're looking for partly sunny skies. Our high temperature will, believe it or not, be up near 70 degrees again, Rod and Heather. So a little taste of Indian summer once again.
A little bit of summer back.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Ah, we knew it would be here.
Enjoy. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah.
2 German scientists who revolutionized modern biology have received the 1991 Nobel Prize for Medicine.
Burke Sackman and Erving Nair have been working on the interaction of body cells. Their work has helped doctors worldwide better understand such diseases as diabetes, epilepsy, and cystic fibrosis. The 2 scientists will share $1 million in prize money. Thousands of Minnesota school children are doing themselves a favor tonight by turning off the television. It's estimated that most kids spend 4 hours a night watching TV, and the more they watch, the worse they do in school. Today, Governor Carlson kicked off a program aimed at getting kids to break the habit. Susan Austin reports.
Oh my goodness, folks, this is the governor. Hi, how are you?
Governor Carlson chatted with students today at Kimberly Lane Elementary School, but his goal was more than just a friendly visit.
I, Lisa, promised to read at night.
Lisa will have a lot more time to read because all 500 students here at Kimberly are promising to turn off the TV on school nights for the next 5 weeks. Like the t-shirts say, the program is called TV Busters. It was founded 5 years ago by Pat Marker, who's convinced that turning off the tube can dramatically improve his students' lives.
I've noticed that the attentiveness is up, they concentrate more, their work doesn't look like it was done during the commercials.
You can listen to the radio, you can watch the news, and if the Twins are in the playoffs, you can watch the Twins.
Elsa Petersburg and KDV are explaining to other students just what the rules are. For every night they don't watch TV, kids will be asked to turn in a slip listing what they did instead. The slips will then be used as raffle tickets for prizes. This is how some 3rd graders plan to spend their time.
Ride my horse, read books, and play with my sister. Play with my puzzle, play with all my toys. Mostly I'll read my book and go outside and call my friends, that's all.
Marker's program is gaining popularity across the country. Right now, more than 27,000 kids in 37 states are making the same pledge as these students.
So we're going to all promise turn off the TV, read at night, and be good to each other. Is that right?
For some students, turning off